Very good. Okay. Good. All right. There you go. Now I want to say he's got a great tie too with trumpets on it, and you're going to stand right here. Okay. I'm going to stand in the middle. And your name is Paul. Paul. Okay. And your name, dear? Heather. Okay. All right. Well, this is very exciting. So what you're going to do is go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. See if you can do that with me. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Do it again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's help them. Let's do just what we were doing, counting and clapping. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. One more time. Go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Well, I think we're ready for no less than the Altoona Symphony. What do you say, Adrian? Ready? Go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Yeah, put that wrist. 1, 2, 3, 1. Now it relaxes a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's it. Isn't this fun? Like floating. Don't get used to it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, How about a big hand for our wonderful conductors? Great job. I'll take that back. That's all there is to it. Just please tell me, do you want to be a conductor now when you grow up? Say no. Okay, great. All right, thank you very much. Bravo. So, bearing that vivid demonstration in mind, let's hear the Slavonic Dance in G minor, Opus 46 by Antonin Dvorak. after such a zestful performance, it requires very little imagination to see how Europe caught on to Dvorak and how popular these works were. In fact, I strongly recommend that you go out of here right this instant and go and get a recording of these Slavonic dances, because they're all wonderful music, just like that one. Well, I don't see anybody leaving, so I guess you're here to hear more. You're staying for a little longer. So we continue. In 1892, Antonin Dvorak traveled to America. And his stay here was at the instigation of just one extraordinary individual. Her name was Jeanette Thurber, born Jeanette Myers in 1850. She was the daughter of a Danish violinist who had emigrated here, and he had seen that she had had a thorough music education as a youth. In fact, he sent her to the famous Paris Conservatory. In fact, she was a very fine amateur composer herself. So she came back to America, and in 1869, she had married a very famous grocer named Francis Thurber. And so now that she had some real financial clout, she decided to do something about the dismal state she felt of American music over here, because she saw this big brain drain going on. All of the talented American composers were going to Germany to study. And the ones that were the heads of the music departments, like such as Harvard and all the conservatories, all the professors were German and writing in a kind of post-Wagner style. Okay, so she had Francophile sympathies, but she also wanted to see a new American style take root. So she did something totally unprecedented. She founded her own music conservatory in Lower Manhattan. It was called the National Conservatory of Music, and she founded it in 1885. And incidentally, she also started her own opera company, the American Opera Company. So she's an extraordinary and underrated hero amongst America's great patrons. In 1892, she had a further idea, which was that she would bring over Antonin Dvorak here with the idea that he would study the indigenous musics of people who were living here and write music that included those. And hopefully, as the director of the conservatory in 1892, others would follow his lead, and the fact that he would found a new musical style that was distinctly American. There was something even a little stagey about it, because does 1892 at all sound to you like another famous date? Go a couple of centuries earlier. And it is, there it is, yes, 1492. And almost to the month, Dvorak's journey to America was 400 years following the voyage of Christopher Columbus. So the assumption was that he would do the equivalent of discovering a new American style, just as Columbus had, and it's questionable, discovered America. As he walked around Lower Manhattan, where he lived most of the time between 1892 and 1895, Dvorak saw African Americans and Chinese Americans for the first time in his life. Never before had this 41-year-old Bohemian-born composer from a small town seen such diversity. In a few months, he started to compose his Symphony No. 9, the New World Symphony. He completed it in May of 1893, and it was first performed in December of 1893 at Carnegie Hall. The audiences went wild. They kept cheering, and it's just so impressive, wonderful to read Dvorak's own account of that, because he was a modest man, and and almost a little embarrassed by all the applause, but they kept bringing him back, and he loved every moment of it as well. Now, in keeping with Mrs. Thurber's plan, Dvorak referenced African-American music and American Indian culture. At the time, some music critics wrote lengthy analyses describing the African influences and the Indian influences. But Dvorak never said very much about what his sources were. There was lots of lively debate, in fact, centering on questions as to whether Negro spirituals and American Indian culture actually belonged in the high art of symphonies. So right from the beginning, the piece generated a fair amount of controversy. The mixture of different kinds of ethnic groups' musics today might seem to be a commonplace for us. But back in Dvorak's time, and in New York, and especially Boston, it was totally unheard of. Well, as I mentioned, we don't know much about Dvorak's source material, but there is one thing that we can be sure of. Dvorak had an African-American student who was one of his favorite students at the Conservatory. His name was Henry T. Burleigh. And Dvorak, as the popular song goes, Dvorak was just wild about Harry. And Harry would follow him around and sing African-American spirituals to him. And by different accounts, this was one of Dvorak's favorite recreations during his time here. One of the spirituals that he most admired must have been Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. And I think we can prove with almost a smoking gun proof the influence of that song upon Dvorak and the New World Symphony. Let's listen to Teresa Chung and the Altoona Symphony. Actually, I'm going to ask for help from our oboist to play the tune through once for you, and then I'm going to ask for your help in singing the words to Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. That was beautiful. Now, I'm going to sing just the first 3 notes of what we all just sang. Swing low, sweet